Hey, it's Jack from Jack Gately Real Estate and the Online Real Estate Academy with your April 2020 market report for single-family homes in Massachusetts. It is quite a report. It's a barn burner. Let's get into it. After holding fairly steady since last September, prices took a bump up last month in March to $691,000 for your average single-family house in Massachusetts. I know, that's remarkable, 691. So we did have a higher reading back last summer, and then we fell down a little bit. But it seems that we have support at the 650 level and support or a floor, as you would call it, just below 600. And now we've bumped back up almost to 700,000. So yeah, we were fairly steady there, holding flat, and then bounced back up. We're going to see whether this is just a kind of an intermittent thing or whether we bounce back again in the month of April, but we'll find out when we do our next report. But this is important, and we'll see where this number goes. I do not think we're going to break below the price support that we have there at about 650. Now, I want to show you why this is. Once again, you've heard me say it before, but there's just nothing to buy. And now, combined with higher interest rates, which erode buyer power, purchasing power, it could be the worst time to buy a house in recent memory. I think that's not an understatement. I mean, you have very low supply and normal, I would call it, it's not a demand problem, it's a supply problem. Let me show you here. And interest rates, they're eating away at your purchasing power. It's very difficult to buy. Could be worst time like that I can remember at least. So at the first of the month, which is how we do the data here, we had 2,640 homes, single-family homes, statewide available. Last year, we had 2,767, so it's pretty much the same, April to April. But look at these prior years. We actually have 4 years of data on this chart here. This data here is from 2022. This data here is from 2021. And going back to 2020, I know it seems so long ago, we had 6,900 homes in the market. Going back to April 1st of 2019, the last time things were completely normal, that was 8,900 homes. Let me do the math. That's 3.3. That's over 3 times as many homes on the market back in 2019, April 1st, which is the start of the spring market, than we have now. I'm just going to break it down into actually my neighborhood, because you could think of your neighborhood. How many houses are actually for sale in your neighborhood? Let me show you mine. This here is a screenshot of my neighborhood from the multiple listing service. You'll notice there are no listings. There's nothing for sale in my neighborhood. Nothing. April 1st would roll around, and certainly by the middle of April, which I actually took this photo today, snapshotted it off the MLS today, which is the 13th of the month, and you'd have a half a dozen homes, at least, every Saturday. You could see the real estate agent putting a little sign, open house sign at the end of the street, out the balloons, None of that's happening. Nobody in my neighborhood is selling. And just take a look at the bigger neighborhood. In all of Manomet, I live in Manomet, part of Plymouth. It's a big hunk of Manomet. It's a big hunk of Plymouth. In all of Manomet, there's only 5 houses for sale, single-family homes, in the whole Manomet area. I know there'd usually be 5 or 6 homes in just my little neighborhood of Manomet, but there's only 5 in the whole section of town. That's it. That's like, this is, and we're now in the middle of the spring market, and all the restrictions are basically gone. The mask wearing and all, that's over. But supply has not bounced back. And that has resulted, as we talked about, in the price hike, but also in the dynamics of the market on a daily basis. Sellers are now getting 104%. You can see how that's kind of moved back up. We had a floor here of just over 100. Now it's moved back up again. And remember, every one of those percents is thousands and thousands of dollars. Just as for those who haven't seen me describe this before, if you list your house for $100,000, you're actually going to sell it for $104,000 on average. And days to offer. Notice how that went down again. Look at that. That also is dropping down just a touch. There's always some noise in that. There's noise in all of these numbers, little fluctuations. But the dynamics are most certainly, absolutely, positively seller dynamics. The Federal Reserve interest rate hikes have not yet eaten into enough buyer power or purchasing power to affect prices. So we're going to see this year, as the Federal Reserve raises rates, how that's going to affect mortgage rates and affect people's ability to buy at certain dollar valuations. And whether or not that will actually result in a cooling of the housing market, I don't know. I don't think anybody knows, really. And as you've heard me say before, this is uncharted territory. But what has most certainly happened, or not happened, as we would have hoped, now that the restrictions are gone, you would have hoped that people would, hey, let's go sell those houses. Let's make that move to Arizona or Florida or wherever we're going. That hasn't happened. The spring market is anemic, I guess is the best way to think about it in terms of supply, and that's affecting everything else. So maybe this is the new normal. I don't know. Stay tuned for next month's report. I'm Jack at Jack Aitley Real Estate or the Online Real Estate Academy. Have a great day. Bye-bye.